We're going to be talking about mindfulness now, and we're switching over to our next guest. Nicholas Clay, you are a mindfulness coach. What does a mindfulness coach do?
Yes, so a mindfulness coach is someone who helps someone become present, shortly said, and I can elaborate a little further on that. It's helping people get out of their own mind, helping people clear what's holding them back. Most people don't live present. They don't live in the here and now. They live in their mind. We get stuck there.
Well, but there's always something back there that's holding you back for something. Oh, I can't do that because my father always told me I could never do that.
Right. So there's things like that, traumas, certain triggers that get developed, and there's just thinking in general. So we're either stuck into the past, reminiscing about what went right or what didn't go right or what we liked or didn't like.
But you can learn from the past.
You can. You're not going to apply that very well if you're stuck there. Because if you look at what is real, it's right now. And it's all we have. Right?
This is it.
That's it.
This is it.
Yet most people don't live here. Most people either live in some perceived future.
You're absolutely right. I know one person who every time I talked to her on the phone was like living in the past.
Yeah.
Always talking about what somebody did to her years ago or what this. And it's like, get out of that mindset.
Yeah, and people get stuck, and a lot of that is because you can see most people, they're not happy. And so if you're not happy with now, then you're going to go elsewhere and distract yourself. This is why entertainment is so big, because we're always trying to get away from our lives.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Vacation, because we have to get away. What are we getting away from? If you have a life constructed that you need to get away from, well, there's an issue there that we're overstepping. And so I help people help them happy with being present and show them what in their life is causing the stress and what's having them be unhappy, and actually showing them how to complete it, how to clear it. See, a lot of people when we do these kind of talks, they'll go through something, they'll experience emotion, they look at it, and they don't feel relief. And then people get turned off by it because they're like, I talked to somebody, or I don't want to do that again, or it's just going to make me feel bad. There's very few resources that actually show people how you can actually complete this and release it, so it's not there anymore. Right? I can say on my own personal testimony, I have not experienced a negative emotion in over a year. Most people can't go a week without experiencing some type of frustration.
So you don't read the news, is that it? Just checking. Checking.
That's a very fair point. I do not watch much news. Now, I subscribe to other news resources that I trust and I like and that are less opinionated and that are more just showing me what it is.
That's how I like my news.
Yeah, the entertainment aspects of the news.
Telling you how to think is bad.
Exactly.
I don't want anybody to tell me how to think. Just give me the facts, and I'll deal with those. But what created this career? I don't want to, or calling.
Yeah.
What created this in you?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that at one time you were living in the past.
Oh, yes. I was very much not present. I had a very strong and very high ego, and I had a lot of anger and unpleasantness that I never enjoyed. So it's a bit of a story which we don't have time for. The gist of it is, after being recommended a handful of reading materials that I gravitated towards very naturally and felt like I had a unique understanding of, and then from there just putting myself around great people, seeking out those kind of mindsets where I was led to further and further resources. And then I started seeing in myself the ability to not only understand this stuff and to apply it. And then when you start to see that real effect, that change in yourself, like any entrepreneur, you look at people that start their own businesses, it's usually because they found something very significant for themselves that they wish to share with others. So the short answer to your question is just that. I found something extremely significant that has had a lasting effect of removing this toxicity. And I can say,
and it is toxicity.
Oh, very much.
It holds you back. It keeps you from taking that next step forward because you got this little thing in your head telling you, oh, you shouldn't do that, or maybe so-and-so won't like it if you do that. I mean, you have, and I love the fact that you say living in the here and now, and I'm going to tell you one thing that really bugs me. Okay, can I tell you what bugs me?
Absolutely, that's what I do.
What bugs me is when I see people walking on the street with their cell phone.
Yeah.
it's a beautiful day. The
Yeah.
birds are singing. There's 3 kids over there playing hopscotch. There's a beautiful flower garden over. They don't see nothing.
No, no,
All they see is what's next
Right.
on this little gizmo.
so,
This is not a gizmo, it's my mask. So anyway,
yeah, let's expand a little bit
but
further
so
on
that bugs me, and I go to a dinner, and I see 3 people sitting there with their phones. You're in the here and now with people.
Yeah,
Talk to them.
yeah. So that same thing you're explaining on how they're not here because they're on their phone, that's exactly what happens when we're in thought. You're missing the same aspect of reality when you're not here. It's like if we were to shoot this filming and you were to take out, let's say you left 1 frame in and took out 15, and left 1 in and took out 15.
Exactly.
That's how they're going through life.
With
And they're missing out. And that's why when people recall what they've done in life or events, it's very hollow. It's missing the granularness because most people are not experiencing life. Most people are thinking about their life. And there's a very real difference.
Thinking about
Either or.
past or future.
Either or.
Either
In
or.
general, they're thinking.
Okay.
They don't have an actual experience because an experience comes from being present. That's consciousness. Right? Consciousness is experience. Well, if you're thinking, then you're missing out on that experience. You're missing out on the birds, on the grass, on the kids playing. You're not here. So if I asked you, how was your day yesterday? What do most people say? Oh, it was good.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? You know nothing. And you don't get to know people. People don't share because they're protecting themselves and they're not there in the first place.
Yeah, you bring really, I've never really discussed mindfulness with anyone except for you. It's sort of one of those things. But it's really important, and I understand what you're saying about living in the here and now. I mean, because that's been my policy pretty much. I mean, when I do an interview, I'm in the here and now right now. I'm not thinking about what am I going to ask next. No, I listen to you.
Yeah.
What are you saying, and how can I follow up with a conversation with you? Because I think it's more important, and it was funny, early in my career, I was watching someone who did a show like me, and she had her little card there, like this, with her questions on it. The person came on and said something very profound, something that had just happened in their life that was really like, oh my gosh, that would be my first response. Oh my gosh, tell me about that. She went on to her next question.
Right. She wasn't there.
That kind of hit me right, like, are you not listening?
No, she wasn't.
Don't you listen to people? Is it always in the back, what your next question is going to be? And they say that even in conversations with people in a group. You'll say something, I'll go, oh, I want to ask him that. So all you do is focus on that question you want to ask, that you miss the rest of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Yeah. And, furthermore, it also affects our communication. And see, when we have these unaddressed traumas or negativity within us, our communication also is less authentic, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we start speaking very conceptually, we're kind of vague. Even if you listen to people, they don't even complete their sentences. They don't even finish the thought. Because most of what we speak about, if you introduce something, it could be put back on yourself. And so people become very concerned on what they say. And you can tell what people are willing to go to and what they're not, just based on how they communicate, what they talk about, the tonality. You spend 20 or 30 minutes with someone and you can get a lot about them and how their life
Uh-oh.
is. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Is it me?
No.
No, I'm okay. He's analyzing me, and here I am sitting here talking. But
Yeah.
anyway, no, I'm kidding with you, of course. I'm not worried about that.
I can sense that.
But the thing is, how successful do you feel you are? And if someone would come to you,
Yeah.
okay, I'm burdened with all this,
Yeah.
and I need to talk to somebody about it. Okay, you're not a psychologist. You're not
Correct.
there to treat anybody. You're there to kind of expand their knowledge of their own environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go to you and I say, I need some help,
Yeah.
and I'm not therapeutically, got mental issues. I just need to burden this off there.
Yeah.
How many sessions would it take to kind of get them thinking in I want to say the right direction, but that sounds kind of judgmental, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
I did. So 2 questions there. How effective do I think I am? Extremely. How many sessions would it take for that? Generally, for just healing what's there, in 5 to 10.
Oh,
And
really?
these are hour sessions. Yeah. This
Wow,
doesn't-
it takes that long.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what's there.
Yeah, what their issues are.
Yeah. And when I say 5 to 10, I'm not talking about the one thing that they came to me with.
No, because you're going to discover other things.
Right. I'm talking about them leaving clear within themselves, having a deeper understanding of themselves that they've never had before, being aware of things that they never understood, and understanding what awareness is and what our ego is and how that plays effect. And so from 5 to 10 sessions, they now leave with the tools that they can ongoingly have a satisfied, fulfilled, and happy life. So essentially, I work myself out of a job. See,
Well, what did we have? We talked about Alzheimer's a while ago, and he says the best thing would be if I lost my job.
and when he said that, I loved that because that's the same thing that I'm doing. My biggest goal is to work myself out of a career because my biggest goal is people first. And I think a lot.
But you know what? There's never going to be an ending for you. You know that.
Realistically, yeah, more than likely not.
Not, because
However,
there's
that's-
people that are carrying burdens that, and like I say, I was very close to people in my family that just could not let go.
Yeah.
And I've had bumps in my life, but I've always learned, and this may be counter to what you're saying, I never look back.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson, I'm done with that, I'm going on. Because I think if you keep going back over and over and over, it doesn't do you any good.
If there's something to go back to, then it's good to look at it, and when you can
Analyze it,
when you-
maybe.
when you can be properly guided to complete it.
Yeah,
The reason why most people struggle is because they look back, yet they don't have the tools.
there's no resolution.
Yeah, they don't even know what I'm saying right now. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why what I do, you can consider transformative learning. Most of what we have in the world is cognitive learning. So you have a knowing
Yeah,
of it.
of course,
Yeah.
we need that.
Agreed. What I teach is experiential learning. Right? And so that happens by actually going through the session. See, I can tell you everything, all the tools right now, or I can talk to someone who's having emotional distress. It doesn't do anything. It's having the experience of it, of going through it, and applying it in the world. And that's what a lot of people fall short. They'll read a book and say, well, this is great stuff, but if you don't apply it,
You got to apply it.
right? And
Yeah.
it's having that guidance to help people along on how to apply it, and then coming back and see what worked, what didn't work. And you could think of it as it's getting people centered.
And so what they do is they do their homework
Yes.
after,
I
I
do
mean,
give
I use
homework.
that in
No,
quotes.
I do give homework, so it's
Yeah,
funny you
so
say
they
that.
do their homework, and then they come back and relate to you, well, this worked, but I can't get past this portion of it, and then you'll kind of guide them through that. So this perhaps is, wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody lived in the here and now?
Well, it's most certainly possible. And will it happen within my lifetime? Probably not. Can it happen? Yes, if we want it.
Yeah.
See, right now, we don't display a want to.
No,
Yeah.
no. And of course, the news doesn't help, you know.
Well, it's inherently negative.
Yeah,
And so on that topic, if we actually understood the implications of mental health and how toxic the news can be and how that influences people.
Oh, terrible.
And if we actually knew the severity and depth, I have a high degree of confidence that the news wouldn't be the way it is. I don't think anyone actually knows how destructive that is and how we're influenced by
they
it.
do talk about it, they tell you to have a no news day, or,
Yeah.
to take a mental health day by not listening to the news and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
But, I like to kind of know what's going, of course, I'm in the medical field, so I'm always kind of looking at what's going on with vaccines and things like that, but that's just me, because I'm interested in that,
And
so.
it's not what they report, it's how
It's
they
how it's,
report it. It's
well,
the
when they
language.
tell you, when they put emotion behind it,
Right,
and they're trying to influence your emotion,
yeah.
I think that is horrible to do. Nicholas, it's such a pleasure to meet you
You as well, yeah.
and to learn a little bit about mindfulness, and I will look at it in a whole new way now.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, that's really great. And they can contact you. You do have a website. We've been putting that up there.
Yes.
One World, being one world, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we'll do that.